Welcome everyone, Build Out here. I am super excited about this video. In this video, we want to talk about PMO Resource Capacity. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I cover both PMO Leader and PMO and Project Managers. And in this video, I just want to set the context. It's around PMO Leadership and what can you do from a PMO Leader perspective from that resource capacity. I've been doing this for a long time. I've ran 10 PMOs. Since 2002 across 4 different companies, so lots of experience, but I wanted to set that context from a PMO leadership perspective. So that makes sense? Great, let's keep going. I love this topic because it's one of the most difficult PMO topics that PMO managers will face and really need some great discipline behind that, right? If you plan and put some discipline behind that, you're going to be much more successful. So let's dive into this topic and why this is such a pain point for PMO leaders. First, I would say PMO leaders are faced with a huge challenge with resource capacity for project work. We're seeing a whole new level of project requests for PMO resources, and in many cases we can't fill the incoming needs, right? We have more project requests coming in than possible project managers to handle those requests. With COVID putting companies 2 to 3 years behind the 8 ball, they're scrambling to release new products and new services as soon as possible, and the intake of requests is just overwhelming, putting huge pressures on the PMO organizations to have good resource management processes in place. Right? Number 2, we're seeing a new level of employee turnover, right? We just covered that in the PMO Resource video. You can go check that out on my channel. But we're seeing a level of burnout like never before as well, causing major project disruptions, right? And slowdowns that are hurting the efficiency of the organization. Number 3, companies are not mature enough to have processes in place to do resource management capacity planning. So because of that lack of maturity, we're seeing this PMO resource capacity and planning being such a huge issue. It's a huge problem because we can't take on new projects when we don't know what projects we have going and what resources are working on those projects, right? So we get into this catch-22 situation. Have you seen those as well before, right? Let me keep going on this really important topic. Okay, I told you why it's a problem for a PMO leader, right? And why we're even in the, but why are we even in this spot, right? So it's a good question, and what I wanted to cover as well, right? I think the first one, and really number 1, is resource capacity management is hard. And it takes time to get to a level of maturity, right? Organizations don't often have that time or won't take that time. So we get into this weird catch-22, right? Is we need this resource management capability, we need this skill set, but we don't want to give it the time to actually build that, right? Many companies just easily give up on wanting this maturity and this maturity level because they just want to get the projects cranked out, right? And so you do get into that catch-22, which is really difficult, and it's why companies struggle. Right? Number 2, resource capacity and planning takes a level of maturity and discipline from resource managers around the company as well, right? They have to give up their kingdoms. They have to give up what their individual resources are doing for the greater good and the greater whole of the organization. And not all resource managers are at that level of maturity. Not all resource managers want to tell the whole organization what their people are working on. And so that's a huge problem, and they actually have to give that up. So there's a level of maturity around that as well. See, this is a tough topic, right? And I know a lot of companies are facing this issue. So again, we now see, right, a couple reasons why we're in this situation. What are some possible solutions? Well, I've been doing this for a long time, right? 20 years of PMO management, 31 years in the project management industry. Let me give you some of my possible solutions, right? But before I do that, right, I want to actually ask you a question. Does your company deal with these same issues? Right? Do you have resource management issues and you really have a hard time understanding who's working on what? comment below. I'm dying to understand. I'm dying to listen and learn from you as well. Listen and learn from you. And basically, I'd love to know what you're doing from a resource management perspective, because I think it's so critical. And I think a lot of companies are facing the same situation. Okay, like I said, been doing this for a long time. What are some possible solutions? How do you get yourself, and how do companies get yourself out of this mess? Well, first, your top executive senior leadership folks, they have to be 100% behind going down this resource management capacity process, right? They have to give the company time to mature. They have to get the processes and support the processes in place, but you need all of your leaders and your senior leaders to buy into this resource management process. Grassroots solutions, grassroots ability to really move this bar forward is never going to happen, right? So you need top leaders to really support this process and push this process down through the line managers to make sure it happens. Number two, you have to put formal resource management processes in place. You have to have checkpoints during the week. You have to have these process and procedures people can follow, and then follow up checkpoints to make sure they're actually following them, right? I can't stress that enough. You really do need these checkpoints in place, that we can see what the data look like, and we can see the data increasing. And as the data increases over time, and we start understanding what resources are working on, and understanding their bandwidth across projects and across their operations, or their lights on, doors open, right? It really is going to give you that great picture. Thirdly, you have to put a series of dashboards and reports in place for resource management capabilities and reporting, right? We can't mix and match. We have to have resource dashboards so resource managers can see exactly what their resources are working on. They can see their time allocations, they can see their project work, their operational work, and then they can adjust and tweak accordingly. So when new projects come in and we need a DBA, or we need a project manager, we need a business analyst, we can go to these great dashboards and reports and see exactly who's free, who's coming up, and potentially could be free, and then we know when we start our projects. Does that make sense? What do you guys think? Right? Are you doing this type of thing before, or this type of thing in your organizations? And have you seen this before? Have you seen these types of dashboards and reports in place, which really help you give and understand exactly what your resources are working on? Just a quick reminder, if you like this video, you like this content, please do like the video, hit subscribe, hit the notification, and I'm releasing new videos all the time. And then go ahead, again, quick reminder, go watch my next video on PMO and process improvement projects, and really focusing your organization on both doing projects, but looking inside and maturing your PMO as well. My name is Bill Dow. Thank you very much. I'll see you online.